The kids come to the door. Last time they came last year, they screamed when they saw me and Bev because he's got one. Look, hey, look, we've got visitors. We've got
so
visitors.
we have.
We have.
Hello.
People watching.
Welcome, everybody, and happy Halloween.
Yes, happy Halloween. I'll tell you, I don't really look, just to reassure you, I don't want to scare anyone. I'll just take this off for a minute. Here we go. Ah! Yeah, so welcome. Usually, you see, I write the Indie Live podcast newsletter. I write it out and I type it all up and we send it out to you as a mail shot. And this time, Fiona and I thought might be more enjoyable and to some extent easier if we just do a wee video and you just have to click on it the way you have. And we're just going to tell you what we've been up to for the last month, in October, and what's coming up. The main thing, I've got a list in front of me, the video cast we did is called Pathways to Europe, and we invited Kirsty Hughes, Dr. Kirsty Hughes, to come and talk to us about Pathways to Europe for an independent Scotland. And I interviewed her, and I just think it's a really, really good 50 minutes worth. And we cover things like, well, what happens if if you ask to join the EU? How long does it take? Is there a trade arrangement in place while we're negotiating? What about EFTA? Would that be easier? So it's really good. And I have to say, folks, that Fiona here spent a fair bit of time and split the main interview into, what was it, half a dozen? More than that?
9 in the end. Nine of the main questions that we asked Kirsty during the interview. And we put them out one a night in the run up to the broadcast on our Indie Live Extra YouTube channel. And we also put them out on TikTok as well, which are two very different audiences, I think. So it's quite good. And then, of course, the main event, the whole interview was on Independence Live's YouTube channel. Yeah. So lots of opportunities to see it.
Really good. And I think that having those short ones, like 10, 15-minute ones, that's really good when you're just chatting to someone and you think, oh, I could just direct them to if they're thinking about EFTA or whatever they might have a question about. So have a look at those. They're really good. And they're worthwhile passing on to your friends.
Absolutely. They're all shareable links. So you can add them to social media or tweets or Facebook or anything like that.
What about the podcast that went out in October?
Oh, we had a few, actually. There's a lot going on just now. So we were doing some bonus Tuesdays as well as our regular Friday. What we started off with was a panel discussion from Falkirk Friends of Yes. And that was a really good panel who had, certainly Leslie Riddick was on it, Grant Tom was on it, Gillian Mackay was on it, and there was Neil MacLeod, that's right. Very interesting discussion, actually. And they were all mulling over ideas for campaigning. And a lot of it was around being visible. And I think that's the thing that Leslie Riddick in particular has carried on. So that was a really good one. Then we had the first of 3 that we're doing on the keynote speeches from the conferences, because half-term holiday in October is conference season. So Nicola Sturgeon's keynote speech has already gone out. That was the 14th. We're not party political in Indie Live podcasts. And we're also bringing you the Greens, which is Lorna Slater and Patrick Harvey do a joint speech. And then Tuesday after that, we've got Alex Salmond doing the ALIPA keynote speech, all different dimensions of the independence world. Then we've got the Pathways to Europe went out as the podcast version as well as the YouTube version. Then we had a very interesting discussion from Yes Sky, which was an independent currency in an independent Scotland, and the guest was
we were both at that one, weren't we? It was a really good discussion.
We were. It was very good. There's also a video version of it on our Indie Live Extra YouTube channel if you want to see it. But if you like to listen on the go, then the podcast version's there as well. Then we had the launch of the 3rd of the Scottish Government papers on building a new Scotland. This one was a stronger economy with independence.
After that happened, you and I recorded a discussion with Ian Stewart again. So Ian Stewart was the chap who'd done the talk for Yes Sky and Lochel. So we invited Ian into the studio, and also Tim Rideout of the Scottish Currency Group, just to ask them what did they think of the paper? What are the pros and cons of it? So that's going out.
The YouTube will be out on the 15th, which is Tuesday. It premieres at 8 p.m. on Tuesday the 15th. The podcast version will be the Friday the 18th. Bits and Pieces October has just gone out, literally just on Friday there. Every month for the last 3 months at Bits and Pieces, I've thought at the beginning of the month, what are we going to be able to cover that's going to compare to last month? And yet every month for the last 3 months, we've had new prime ministers, we've had new monarchs, we've had just all manner of things. So we haven't had any shortage of material. The difficult bit's been making sense of it all and not trying not to repeat stuff that everybody's heard. We try and come at it from a different angle. So that's October.
So what's coming up? The November podcast?
Again, really good selection. We've got, first of all, we've got an episode of Rising Clyde, which is looking at COP27, which this year, of course, is Sharm el-Sheikh. Then we have, as I mentioned a moment ago, the Scottish Green Party speech. We've got the Alpa Party speech. We are then going to have a guest podcast, which is an episode of the TNT show with Professor Aileen McHarg, who is a constitutional lawyer, and she's talking about the Supreme Court case. I don't think we will have had the outcome of the court case before the middle of November, but who knows? But interesting to see what Aileen's got to say.
If we have had the result before the end of November, we'll probably redo this whole schedule, won't we?
We absolutely, because we'll be in Edinburgh protesting, along with Leslie Riddoch. And then, of course, the last there'll be another Bits and Pieces to round off November as well. So plenty going on still.
Plenty going on. Wherever you get, if you listen to podcasts regularly, then just search for us, Scottish Independence Podcast, and you'll find us. Spotify, Apple, Google, basically, dozens and dozens of places. So
wherever you get your podcast,
have a look on our website, which again, search for Scottish Independence Podcast. You'll find us there. And I'm going to add a few images underneath this little video on the email. And if you just click on them, they'll take you to some of the podcasts that we've already been talking about. So loads of stuff.
If you want to get in touch with us, if you've got any ideas for things you'd like us to cover, or you'd just like to give us some feedback, you can get us on Twitter at Scottish Indie Pod. You can get us on Discord. We've got a Discord channel. You'll get the link to join our Discord channel in our Twitter profile and on the website. And that's a much more immediate way. If you want to chat to anybody, that's quite a good way of getting in touch.
I mean, if you already follow us on some of these platforms, share us around. The more we get shared around, the more the algorithms pick us up, and then they appear on other people's timelines and threads. So thanks for watching, and I'm going to revert to my true nature.
And I'm going to try and remember where I left that broomstick. Happy Halloween!
Happy Halloween!